Hey guys, Beastie here once again with another guide video. Today I'll be talking about TvP scouting and what to look for, and even when you scout something, what does it mean, how should you react, and how to just transition out of it. So today I'll be going through three different games. I will be explaining three most common build orders in the current TvP meta from the Protoss, and how to spot them and what are you actually scouting for. So this game is basically Protoss doing a one base pylon rush with proxy oracles. So like I said already in one of my previous videos, you want to be scouting with an SCV that just finished the barracks, and what I'm scouting for is to check if there's two pylons in the main base and if there is a nexus. So I go in here, I see no nexus, Cybercore and Gateway are done, which means that at this point when your RC arrives in their base, there's no nexus, they're one basing. Now, what you want to do is check for pylons in their main base. If when your SCV arrives to their base, if there's only one pylon, that means that the second pylon is proxied somewhere, because as you can see at this point, Protoss is on 27 supply, so obviously they need the second pylon to produce units. Now you will see my Reaper instantly changing the scouting pattern because I saw that there's no nexus, and what you want to do with the Reaper is scout the most common proxy locations on each map. So for example in Proxima, the most common one is here. Now it's possible that the Protoss does proxy Robo, proxy Stargate, or proxy Twilight. The proxy Stargate is the most common one, and it's almost always followed up by a pylon rush. So make sure you defend that properly. If you're not sure how to defend pylon rushes, you can check in one of my previous videos as well. And one last thing, when facing a one base, it's extremely important for this SCV to go back to the natural, and you'll see him going there, because even though the Protoss opened one base, you want to make sure that he expanded or he didn't expand, because if he did expand, it's most likely going to be light pressure follow-up, maybe with void rays or something like that. But if there's no expansion, all you need to do is defend at that point, make a few bunkers, and even sacrificing your economy is not a bad idea in order to survive, because he has no transition after the initial first push. Now, this second game is kind of similar because it involves a Stargate, but Protoss did fast expand in this one. And I will show you guys my process of thinking of when I scout. So once again, you'll see the SCV moving out to the other side of the map. And once again, what I'm scouting for is if he expanded or not. I see the nexus. So now what I want to do is make sure that both pylons are in the main base. And oops. And if he's already mining off of 2 gas. Now, I go in here and I already see the Stargate. Some people might wonder, well, why did he just show you the Stargate? Well, if he makes a mothership core first, the Stargate is actually delayed by like almost 30 seconds. So there's no point to for him to try to hide it or anything like that from an SCV, because Protoss, after expanding, is not really looking to kill your SCVs. That's always a bonus. What he wants to do is scout what you're doing and just safely transition. But always you should be prepared for defending the oracles, because if they can get damage done, they most certainly will. The Reaper comes back in to make sure that he didn't cancel Stargate or something like that, and this is pretty lucky for me that the Reaper actually manages to run away. Now, that's part 1 of the scouting in TvP after Protoss expanded. Now, part 2 is I'll be explaining my thought process behind it. So, now I want to be defending this Oracle with a mine on the natural, some Marines in the main. Reaper is on the possible third base just waiting. And your follow-up scout in TvP, if you're doing this build with the medevac drop 111, your follow-up scout is the medevac and the widow mines. Whether it's 1 or 2, that depends, but that's your follow-up scout. So if you guys watch my stream, you'll notice that I almost never scan against Protoss, and the reason for that is, well, if you're aggressive, you can scout by seeing how many units he has or what is in his main base. So here you'll see my Reaper is going to the third to check if he has one. And the reason for this is the most common transition out of fast expand Protoss into Stargate Oracle is really fast third base with some Phoenix or Void Rays, so you need to be careful when you're dropping right now or in the mid game to not get picked off by your medevacs by Phoenixes or Void Rays. Now, because I saw the third base, I feel pretty, confident to know exactly what he's doing, and I try to get some damage here. You'll see me pop to the left side just to get as much scouting as I can. The Oracle comes with the Phoenix, I pull away, and then what I do is I go around, and again, I try to get as much information as I can. I see gases going up, and I end up finding a spot for the Widow Mine, which is always good. Now, this is the part 2 scouting in TvP, so after his initial opening, like fast expanding into first tech building, which was Stargate, he transitioned into a third base, which is successfully scouted. Now, after that, for this specific build, the meta game in TvP is to go into Twilight Council, get a Resonant Glaives, and +1 attack upgrade. And the reason for that is Adepts with +1 attack upgrade will 2-shot Marines once your Marines stim, even with combat shields. So, Terrans usually do a big push off of 2 base with siege tanks most likely, and this build is, I think, very good with dealing with it. You see that my Reaper just went in and I saw pretty much the exact thing that I'm talking about. It is Twilight and +1. Some people might ask, well, what if it's Blink? If they go Blink and if you go siege tanks, they will simply die. So they need to go. You can see he has a couple of Phoenix, he has Oracle for tagging, for Widow Mines, and just massive depth to deflect your first push. Now, I confirmed with my Reaper that he is going for that, but in most of your guys' ladder games you should be expecting this because, like I said, it is the common transition, and if Protoss went into straight Robo or even Colossus, they would probably simply die because they got the third base really fast and they're attacking way too fast as well. So now, as I'm doing the push, I know what I'm dealing with. And then after the initial push, what you want to know in TvP when you're facing this is the third part when you're scouting. So the third part is after your initial push, you want to know what kind of late game tech, let's call it, he's going for. So there's really 3 options. First option is he will go High Templars, which is the least likely one, because you already are making Widow Mines, you're going to be making Liberators soon, and High Templars in the current meta are not that good to transition this fast to. Second option is he cannot take gases in the third, and he simply goes Mass Gateway with Forge upgrades like Blink Stalkers, Adepts, and just tries to kind of semi all in on your third base, which is very strong, so be careful of that. And the third one is the most common one, which is slowly transition into Robotics facility, add another Forge soon, go for double upgrades, get Blink, and start your Colossus production, which you'll see soon after. That's what happens. Like I said, this is the most common thing. So even if you don't get scouting done, this is what you should have in your mind. It will most likely happen. But what I do is, you can see I'm dropping, I see the second Forge, and you're just trying to get as much scouting you can, again, through aggression, no matter what time in the game it is. You can see Robo, Colossus production, and double upgrades going up. Now, let's move into the third game. This one is a bit different, and this only became popular in the past maybe 2 to 4 weeks. And I think it's gaining popularity more and more because I'm meeting the Stargate triple Nexus less and less. So this game, the Protoss goes for standard expand and then transitions into Robo plus Blink. Now some people might say, well, isn't that an old build? Because, getting observers and Blink is kind of common. Well, yes and no, because the follow-up after that is very different from what we are all used to. So as you guys know, the siege tanks were buffed in a couple of patches ago. So basically now if you open Robo plus Blink into fast third, you will simply die to siege tank pushes. Like you just straight up die as Protoss. So what Protosses are doing right now is they're getting a lot later thirds in exchange for a lot more units and more tech. So you'll see me here go for scout. I see the Nexus, and what you want to do is around 310, 315, you want to hop in back in with your Reaper and scout what the first tech building will be, whether that's a Stargate, Robo, or Twilight. Now, you'll see my Reaper going back in very soon. I see the Robo, and I know I saw only one tech building, so I didn't see the Twilight. And at this point, sometimes you will not get complete information. For example, this game I only saw Robo, so what you need to do is think about what can happen out of it and eliminate the other possibilities. So I saw Robo, so I know there's no Stargate at this point, so I won't be adding any engineering bays or missile turrets. What I will do is put some Marines in the main because War Prism 3-gate harass is possible. Another thing that's possible is DT's Blink Opener into Fast 3 base, but like I said, that's kind of suicide these days. And another possibility that's gaining a lot in popularity is just fast Robotics Bay Colossus with 1 or 2 forges into a third base. So I'm adding a missile turret right here because I saw no War Prism harass, so the next thing I'm eliminating is DTs. And now what's left from the Protoss to do is fast blink into third, which I would not suggest if you're a Protoss player, and just Robotics Colossus tech. So at this point I have Stim, I'm getting my medevacs out, I feel pretty safe to move, I'm getting my third as well on the location. And what I want to do is confirm what he's going for. Like I want to make sure that I know and that maybe he didn't go for High Templars, which again is very uncommon, but it does happen sometimes. I snap the observer here and I start my drop to the main. Now, you'll see that this Marine scouted the third because I wanted to make sure that he has a third and is it done, did it just start, and so on. So if the Protoss went for a blink into fast 3 base like it was common a couple of months ago, this base will be almost done or already done. But because this base just started, it's a very delayed third. You can see that my third is almost done and his just started. So I know that this is some kind of 2-base heavy opener. And if you look at my vision, I will see a bunch of Blink Stalkers. So what that tells me, well, this is a Blink Stalker opener with the Robo, because I saw the Robo. And because he opens so heavily on the 2-base, it has to be Robotics Bay. Even without actually confirming or seeing Colossus, I know already that it is most likely the Colossus build. So I do a drop here, I see what I suspected, there's Robo, he's making Colossus, chrono boosting Colossus and Forge, and I see Twilight still upgrading, and because he has Blink, I know that this is most likely a Resonating Glaives, because at this point it doesn't really make much sense to go charge with low number of Colossi. Now, at this point in the game, I already know everything I need to know. So I don't need to do a national scouting like the previous game, because the previous game had a couple of few transitions. But at this point, 7 minutes in the game, I know that he has Blink, I know that he has Forge, he will most likely be adding another Forge soon, and I saw that he's going Colossus. So he can't really go for High Templars instantly, because he simply doesn't have enough money. So you can see me, for example, in reaction to this, I'm adding another starport for Vikings, and soon, I think in this game you'll see him add another Forge, and then this just transitions into normal macro game. Now, one thing I want to note is some people have asked me, well, what if I scout with an SCV, I see an expo, but then my Reaper doesn't scout anything? What do I do then? Well, if you try to scout and you get denied, which sometimes happens because, Protoss denies it, some maps are harder to scout, then what you want to be doing is play safe around everything. So you remember how on the start of this game I prepared for War Prism, I made turret for DTs. That's kind of what you want to be doing. So if you opened with a 111 Rax Factory starport and you saw nothing, you still want to have Widowmine in your main base for the Oracle, 6 Marines in a natural for an Oracle if it arrives there, and still do one Widowmine drop and get the follow-up scout on your failed scouting on beginning. So you don't want to be scanning, it's too expensive. My suggestion in TvP is always scout with an SCV after the Rex is done. Try to get a follow-up scout with the Reaper. And then if all that fails, play safe, eliminate the possibilities that can hurt you in the game, and from then on out, just get follow-up scouting with the medevac drop with the Widowmine, and then after that with your bio units, aggression. Check your opponent upgrades to see if he has 1-1 or 2-2 really early. It means he went double forge. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video for today. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, or perhaps suggestions what kind of guides I should be doing next. Just leave the comment in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time.